This episode of Bullet Heaven HD was made possible by Degica.
Eschatos.
In episode 53 of Bullet Heaven HD, we took a look at Eschatos, an in-your-face, ultra-cool vertical shooting game from Qute. This was a game that really got me hooked back in Series 3 of Bullet Heaven HD. The visual presentation, amazing OST, and absolutely fantastic gameplay made Eschatos a game that, if we ever did a revised top 10, would almost certainly be in the top 5, and possibly even the top 3. We may have to look a little further into that at some point. Regardless of that, Qute and Degica Games have teamed up to bring PC gamers the Eschatos Wonder Pack via Steam, headed up by its titular namesake, the amazing Eschatos. Worth getting? Hell yes, for many, many reasons. Let's take a closer look. Now, we took a very in-depth look at Eschatos in the episode proper, which is linked below, but here's the skinny on Eschatos' gameplay. It's fantastic. The controls are sharp with traditional 8-way movement, multiple speed settings, and simple, intuitive fire controls. A button for your limited wide shot, one for the longer-reaching straight shot, and pressing both to activate your ship's shield to block or cancel enemy fire. When shields are engaged, they will reduce as long as they're used and fall greatly when destroying enemies or canceling bullets. Eschatos is a fast-paced game with 26 rapidly progressing stages over a total of 5 areas. Each area flows seamlessly to the next as enemy waves are dealt with, making for a quick, dynamic game with little time to rest outside of the pause button. There are also 3 made modes of play, each with multiple difficulty settings and unique features which, again, is covered extensively in episode 53. Original mode is an excellent way to get acquainted with Eschatos' gameplay mechanics. Fire is fixed at a constant level, shields are capped at 100%, and carrier ships drop bomb attacks that wipe the screen of all enemy shots and smaller popcorn-style foes. It also does heavy damage to larger craft. Original mode is also a great way to get familiar with the enemy waves that will end up assailing your craft from all directions. It's a fairly no-frills, super fun mode for players to sit back and blast some UFO scum out of the skies to take back the moon. Advanced mode really amps things up from the original mode. Shot power starts at a basic level and grows to a maximum of 7 with power pickups. As the power of your ship increases though, so too does the shield level cap drop, 10% per level. Collecting a bomb attack will raise the shields 10%, but also drop your firepower by 1 level. Death will also impact your power level and your multiplier. This constant flux is bound to keep players on their toes to efficiently manage their ship's power at all times. But there's another layer to the gameplay in advanced mode. Bonus pickups from shield absorption and heavy bullet cancels through enemy and boss destruction can be held in orbit around your craft to heavily damage everything they touch so long as the shield is engaged. Their size changes in relation to the multiplier though, which we'll take a look at shortly. Finally, time attack has players attempt the game in a timed environment. Clearing specific enemy waves will result in bonus time, as will extends. However, if a player is destroyed, they will suffer a penalty of 5 seconds. In addition, if a player can kill complete waves of enemies quickly enough, the time can also briefly be held from counting down. There's another twist. The enemy rank is fixed to hard, making for a very difficult, bullet-filled experience with a very steep curve as the game gets going. Players will need to use all of their skill to get through before the timer falls to 0, so it works well for players that have mastered the original and advanced modes. All of these gameplay modes are just amazing and filled with a ton of replay thanks to the evolving and growing extras in the options menus, which adds new effects and various additional features like new ship colors to the main menus. It's all extremely rewarding and it's made even better with stuff like Steam trading cards and online replays and leaderboards. All in all, Eschatos on Steam is by and large exactly the same as what you'll find on the Xbox 360, with a couple of exceptions. For one, a number of options that would normally have to be unlocked as you accumulate score and play experience are already selectable from the get-go. The controls are also just as razor-sharp as you'd want from a game like Eschatos. Multiple controllers worked awesome for us. Our recommendations are the Hori Gempad EX for D-pad enthusiasts and the Razer Sabertooth if analog sticks are your go-to. Great plus-side stuff. But with the good comes the bad. There are often times where the frame rate will stutter and dip for no real discernible reason on even high-end systems. Worse still, it happens randomly, sometimes in ultra-heavy crowded patterns, sometimes not. Heck, it sometimes happens in the menus. Thankfully, Degica has mentioned that it will try to optimize and iron out this unfortunate porting issue. Is it enough to impact Eschatos' previous perfect score? Not especially. The frame dips are so brief it really doesn't much matter. This game is still an absolute masterpiece. The scoring hooks in Eschatos are pretty great. Like the gameplay, you may not think the scoring is too deep until you get into the meat and potatoes of it all. In original mode, a multiplier and time-based elements are what you'll want to focus on when trying to score big. Completing enemy waves without missing will enable a multiplier which can be built up to ×5. Miss an enemy and you're out of luck. Higher maximum multipliers can be reached on higher difficulties. Additionally, missing a complete enemy wave will regress the multiplier, as will death. This multiplier supplements the time bonus for the wave of enemies you're up against. The quicker the wave is killed off, the bigger the payout. Some bonuses can top 100,000 points, which is truly massive. It's entirely possible to get up and above 1,000,000 points by the end of the first stage. In certain places, a Wonder Witch can be revealed by shooting a specific spot. An increasingly larger bonus score for each one collected boosted by the current multiplier is applied when she's collected. In the endgame, there's also a special bonus for the amount of fighters left in the stock. Speaking of life stock, extends will be dropped every now and again, but this seems to be based on the amount of enemies destroyed rather than the score. This applies to advanced mode as well. In advanced mode, things get much more complicated. There's no wave timer, so all of the score bonuses will hinge on obtaining the triangular purple bonus pickups by using the shield to nullify bullets or getting large bullet cancels from defeating specific enemies. These can be triggered by obtaining a black and yellow bomb pickup as well. There is also a multiplier in this mode which not only applies to completed enemy chains but also power-up and bomb pickups. The multiplier will rise for completed enemy waves and power-ups and fall for missed complete waves and bombs. The bigger the multiplier, the bigger the bonuses in both value and literal size, with each one able to top 1,000 points, sometimes for hundreds at once. Once again, the Wonder Witch bonuses apply here as well. Finally, in Time Attack, there is no score, only time bonuses. But online leaderboards allow players to stack themselves up to players around the world in all of these modes, which is always a nice touch. If there's one thing about Eschatos that never gets old, it's its presentation. In this respect, Eschatos is simply awesome. Eschatos' sense of style is all here, complete with full 1080p visuals running at mostly 60 frames per second. Even on lesser machines, Eschatos runs extremely well, albeit in 720 to 900p. Disabling some of the more bothersome effects like the heavy bloom effects and shadow mapping definitely helps on older rigs. Visually, this is the best Eschatos has ever looked, if you can coax out the best visuals that is. With a good PC, cranking the game up to 1080p and configuring some custom GPU settings will allow players to see Eschatos in ways you'd never thought possible. And all at blistering speed. Again, there are weird mystery dips in the frame rate, but it doesn't kill the experience any. Yosuke Yasui's amazing OST is all here with the exact same fantastic, addictive, 16-bit style musical pieces that set the stage for all 26 levels. Likewise, the sound effects are satisfying, especially with a great stereo setup or a good set of headphones. It's still one of my favorite OSTs to date, and it's actually included in the Eschatos Wonder Pack alongside Judgement, Silversword, and Cardinal Sins. The story is light on substance, but with no mess or fuss, it keeps the game flowing quickly. Here's the skinny. The moon gets covered in purple stuff and Earth is invaded by UFOs. You launch and kill the shit out of UFOs. No mess, no fuss. Well, unless you're the alien invaders, they definitely get theirs. Perhaps the best part is that North American players finally get an Eschatos they can understand. All of the menus and features are now all localized and translated from the original Japanese-only game. Awesome. Man, do I ever love this game. It's still so good. When I first played it in 2012, I wasn't sure if it was all it was cracked up to be, but man, was I ever wrong. So just how does this version stack up? Let's take a look. Once again, the controls in Eschatos are simple and ultra-sharp. Get a controller with a great D-pad and half the battle is won. Eschatos is great for novices and veterans alike with several modes and difficulties. With a levelable menu system, 3 distinct modes, and excellent replayability, not to mention online leaderboards, there's so much to play in Eschatos the hours will just fly by. With a careful bit of coaxing, there is a surprising amount of incredible detail in Eschatos, making this version the best visually. Mysterious stutters happen at random times though. Again, Yosuke Yasui's amazing OST brings the action to full fever pitch with perfect accompaniment. Sound effects are also amazing. Building on its predecessor's innovations, Eschatos is the best example of a less is more style shooting game that demonstrates just how deep you can make a game without overloading it with a trillion features. To this day, Eschatos remains one of the best shooting games ever produced. Despite its minor technical flaw, Eschatos once again gets a 5 out of 5. On Steam, you can get Eschatos on its own for $15 or as part of the Eschatos Wonder Pack bundled with the Eschatos OST and Judgement Silversword Resurrection for just $20. That definitely beats the $90 we paid on the Xbox 360. Make sure to check out Bullet Heaven HD episode 135 for more on Judgement Silversword Resurrection.